After several days crossing the vast desert of the Rub al-Khali on their way to Mecca, through a barren path swept by heat, dust, and wind, Jamir and Jusef arrived at the oasis of Al-Jufa, a place known as a refuge for those seeking to fulfill the sacred pilgrimage of Hajj to the holy city. At the entrance, they couldn't help but notice a thin young man, barefoot, clad in rags, working hard and steadily, drawing water from a well. He had only one arm, a limp that seemed to cause him pain every time he stepped on one of his bare feet. Yet his effort did not falter under the weight of his ache. When he noticed the weary travellers, he paused his work momentarily and simply said, "Assalamu alaikum, masters, peace be upon you," and offered them water from his jar. "Wa alaikum assalam, and thank you for your kindness. What is your name?" Jamir said with a respectful nod. The young man hesitated for a moment, then stammered slightly. "My name is Talamir, master, a humble servant of the house of Sayyid Amir, bimanat Allah, by the grace of Allah." "Well, if it is not too much to ask, brother Talamir," Jamir continued, "can you point us to a place where we might rest for the night?" Talamir paused. Then, with a subtle motion, he pointed with his only arm toward a large tent not too far away. "At the lodge of my master, Sayyid Amir," the servant replied with respect. "It is visible from here. You may rest there, and shelter and food will be provided for you. You will be well taken care of by the grace of Allah." "We are grateful for your kindness, Talamir," Jusef said. "Allah ma'ak," he added softly. "Allah yufazuk," Talamir replied. That evening, after a long day of travel, Jamir and Jusef settled into the comfort of the lodge. They both marveled at the luxury surrounding them, the fragrant dates, the freshly baked naans, the warm fires, and the effortless ease of the evening. The servants working there were clean, organized, and helpful, each dedicated to their individual craft. Yet, despite the comfort, no one felt as sympathetic as Talamir. The lodge was a welcoming refuge after such a grueling day, but the road ahead was still long. They were ready to retire to their tents. But before doing so, Jamir turned to one of the lodge's servants and softly asked, "Could you tell me, please, who is the one-armed man working at the well? And why isn't he working here?" The servant lowered his gaze and with a hint of discomfort said, "Ah, you mean Talamir. Well, he's not like the rest of us. He isn't allowed inside the lodge. You see, he is worthless. He has no particular skill or talent, and with only one arm, there's not much he can do. Our master, he should have let him go long ago. But the Sayyid is merciful and allows him to sleep in the barn with the animals. I'm sorry if he caused you any trouble." Jamir frowned at the servant's coldness. "And yet he showed us such kindness," Jusef remarked quietly. "Is that not a value of greater worth than any talent or wealth?" "Indeed," Jamir said, as each brother made his way to his tent to rest. The next morning, after a night of restful sleep, Jamir appeared thoughtful yet decisive. And as he sipped his morning tea, he turned to his brother Jusef and said, "Dear brother, the blessings we have are more than enough. Do you not agree? Allah has shown us his mercy in abundance, and everything we have is by his grace. Charity and kindness, Jusef, charity and kindness. These are the gifts that Allah has given us, and it is our duty to return them. This is called sadaqah, and it is what the Quran teaches us. This man, Talamir, has given us sadaqah," he said quietly. "Even as strangers, he showed us kindness. Without expectation or hesitation, he assisted two brothers in need. For that, dear brother, I wish to buy him and set him free." Jusef smiled softly, recognizing the beauty in his brother's resolve. "It is a noble act, Jamir," he simply said. The merchants then sought an audience with the Sayyid, the master of the lodge, to discuss the purchase of a slave. And the Sayyid, ever the shrewd businessman, greeted them warmly. Without delay, he clapped his hands, summoning a procession of slaves into the grand hall, all of them well kept and clean from head to toe. The finest among them stepped forward, a large man of commanding presence. The Sayyid gestured toward him with unmistakable pride. "This," he declared, "is Baltazar. Surely you've noticed him. How could you not? Look at his strength, his stature, his teeth, each as perfect as pearls. A man like this could command caravans, fend off thieves, or serve as a symbol of power in your household. There's no need for more words, and for the bargain price of 15 golden coins, he is all yours." Jameer and Yusuf exchanged a measured glance. Bowing slightly, Jameer replied, "He is indeed impressive, and your offer is generous, Sayyid. But we are not here for Baltazar." The Sayyid's brow arched in curiosity. "Ah, of course," he said smoothly. "Men of refinement like yourselves value culture and sophistication above all. Let me offer another, this one from Egypt. He speaks many tongues, plays the harp, and sings melodies that soothe even the most restless of souls. A rare treasure, truly, and for the absurd price of 10 golden coins, he is all yours." Once again the merchants bowed their thanks but declined. "You are most gracious, Sayyid, and we do not doubt his excellence. However, it is not refinement we seek." The Sayyid leaned back. "Then, pray, tell me, what is it you seek?" Jameer's voice was steady yet firm. "We met one of your men yesterday, drawing water from the well. His name is Talamir. We wish to purchase him." For a moment the Sayyid was silent, as if he did not understand. "Talamir?" he repeated, as though the name was unfamiliar. "You wish to buy? Talamir?" "Ah, Talamir. Yes, of course. A man of unique qualities. Wouldn't you agree? Perhaps a touch rough around the edges. But who am I to question the discerning eyes of noble gentlemen such as yourselves? Talamir has been a faithful servant to me and this lodge, and for the irresistible price of 5 bronze coins, he is all yours." Jameer, ever the composed merchant, spoke calmly. "I am grateful for your generous offer, Sayyid, but if it would not be an offence to you, I would be willing to pay 50 golden coins for Talamir." The Sayyid blinked, caught off guard. 50 golden coins? For Talamir? It must be a mistake, or perhaps a joke, he thought. But the merchants looked serious. Still, 50 golden coins? He wasn't even worth the 5 bronze coins he was asking for. In the Sayyid's eyes, and in the eyes of everyone else at the lodge, Talamir was nothing but a useless servant. Yet the Sayyid was no fool. Business was business, and one did not amass wealth by questioning fortune when it arrived. "I see," he said, his voice steady. "If such is your wish, who am I to refuse such a fair request?" He paused. "We shall not stand in your way. For the bargain price of 50 golden coins, my beloved Talamir is all yours." The Sayyid, eager to finalize the transaction before any second thoughts could surface, hurriedly moved to sign the purchase documents, as was customary for such transactions. Then, as tradition dictated, the two parties shook hands. The Sayyid offered a blessing. "Barakallahu fi amwalikum. May Allah bless your wealth." The merchants responded with sincerity. "Barakallahu fi tijaratikum. May Allah bless your business, great Sayyid." With that, the deal was sealed, and they departed from the lodge with Talamir. As the two brothers prepared their horses to leave the oasis of Al-Jufa, Talamir approached them. "Master," he began, stammering, I hope it is not too bold, but may I speak freely?" Jameer looked at him with a gentle smile. "You can speak freely, Talamir, but don't call me master," he said softly. "Speak to me as a friend. I would rather be your friend than your master." Talamir hesitated, his uncertainty still evident. Master, I see that you are no fools and that you are wise businessmen. Yet when the Sayyid asked you for 5 bronze coins for me, you paid 50 golden coins. By the mercy of Allah, I must ask, why? Why would you pay such a high price for someone like me, a worthless servant?" Jameer paused. When he spoke, his voice was steady and kind. "Talamir, my dear friend, I did not pay for what the Sayyid or anyone else thought you were worth. No, my brother, I paid for what I believe you are worth, for the value I see within you, for the value you have for me, and for the value you must never forget you have. In my eyes, dear brother, you are worth 50 golden coins, and far more." And then Jameer reached into his cloak, pulling out the parchment with the note of the sale, marked with the astonishing sum of 50 golden coins he had just paid. He held it out to Talamir and said, "Take this. You are a free man now, my brother. Do well, and remember your worth." After a long silence, Yusef finally spoke. His voice was steady, carrying the weight of parting words. "We must continue our journey now. But you, my dear and kind friend, are just beginning yours." With those words, Jamir and Yusef mounted their horses and rode away. Their figures gradually disappeared into the horizon, swallowed by the dust and the shimmering heat of the sun. As for Talamir, well, he was a free man now. It was a truth that filled him with equal parts exhilaration and terror. The chains of servitude had been removed, yet the invisible chains, the ones forged over years of believing himself to be a lesser man, remained, heavy and unyielding. Freedom, Talamir soon realized, did not erase the struggles of life. It merely gave them new names. For someone like him, a man with no discernible talent, no remarkable skill, and only one arm to match his limp, the path forward was anything but easy. He struggled. For years he struggled. At every turn, it seemed, he faced defeat. The ventures he dared to undertake often failed, and he became intimately familiar with the bitter taste of disappointment. Yet it was in his darkest moments, when failure towered over him like a shadow he could not escape, when his limp seemed to drag him 2 steps back for every step forward, and when his own thoughts whispered cruel, merciless reminders of his supposed worthlessness. In those moments, Talamir would reach for the parchment. The note, detailing the price that had been paid for his freedom, was more than ink on paper. It was a lifeline. It was proof that he mattered, that someone had seen value in him when the world had not. Each time he looked at it, he would whisper the same words to himself, words that seemed to steady his trembling resolve. "I am Talamir," he would say, "and in the eyes of my 2 good friends, Jamir and Yusef, I am worth 50 golden coins." And with those words, parchment held tight in his hand, he would stand a little taller, his shoulders a little straighter. In time, Talamir discovered something that had always been there, hidden beneath the weight of doubt and despair, his true value. Not the value assigned by others, but the worth he carried within himself all along. His days became long and blessed, though not free from struggle. The hardships did not vanish, but the shadow of self-doubt no longer loomed as large. And that, for Talamir, was freedom. Freedom in its truest sense.